In philanthropy, we've come to understand that, you know, a lot of money can get thrown at problems and feel good, but make no difference. And we, at the Hyde Foundation, we like to talk about kind of sleeves rolled up philanthropy, that we dig in deeply. When we consider investments, we assess them in a way that you know, a venture capitalist would assess a major investment. We try to bring kind of clear-eyed intellect and analytical skills to the table. But then once we're invested, we try to bring our full selves.
And that's the example that I had set for me. Somebody who was willing to get up every day, work really, really hard. Life had dealt her a raw deal. I mean, she had 5 kids. She was by herself, trying to raise us all. We were in public housing, but she encouraged, she motivated us, and she told us what we could do, not what we couldn't.
I was one of those that I would wake up and think, what can I play today? I love to keep score. And as I went out to Little League Baseball, and they wouldn't let me play, they said girls don't play, and he offered to let me be a manager or a cheerleader or a scorekeeper, even an assistant coach. But he wouldn't let me play. And I knew at that time I wanted to be in that business because I thought women needed to learn to compete.
The Women's Political Collaborative of Tennessee is privileged to honor 3 remarkable women of diverse backgrounds who learned from example how to succeed and then became outstanding examples themselves and mentors for other women. In retrospect, their journeys in leadership began at an early age.
Well, that was a long time ago, and you know, I was city tennis champion in my hometown because I taught my neighbor how to play. We were the only 2 in the thing. So there really wasn't much. I would have loved to have played college sports, but there was only about 2 schools that I knew I could go to. I was inducted into the LSU Hall of Fame, and everybody says, Joan, what sports did you do? Well, I was ping pong and tennis intramural champion because that's all they had. So it's so exciting in today's world for me to see the opportunities that women have. I grew up in South Louisiana. I was really the only one of our family that was interested in sports. My daddy was a very successful businessman. My mother worked around the home, worked with him some, had a brother and sister who didn't care a thing about sports. But I knew I loved to play, and I don't know where I got it, but that's what I wanted to do every day. I wanted to play, and I wanted to win, and I wanted to keep score.
I was born in North Carolina while my dad was in the military, and shortly before I turned 2, we moved back to Nashville. I spent those years growing up, well, at the age of 5, my mom and dad split, and my mom moved 4 of us. She was pregnant at the time, but she had 4 girls, and we all moved into a public housing development that's just down from the state capitol. Spent most of my life there. I grew up, I didn't leave until I was 19, so moved in at 5, left at 19. So my formative years were spent in public housing, raised by a single parent. But mom was really, she was really a phenomenal encourager. I was 13 before I realized I was poor. And it was the kids at school who told me. I went to junior high school about 1.5 miles from where we lived, and when I got to junior high school, I encountered kids who were not from my neighborhood. Most of the kids who'd gone to my elementary school were from my neighborhood, and so when I got to junior high school, I meet these other kids, and these kids tell me that I'm poor, and I said, you don't know what you're talking about. And I went home and told my mom, these kids don't know what they're talking about. And she said, what kind of rock have you been under?
After I graduated from college, I actually went and taught school in Kenya and realized then that teaching was way harder than I ever imagined. And that again was a life lesson in challenge and but I've just always had great admiration and fondness for teachers. I find myself now at this moment in life as Mrs. Hyde, living in you know, very blessed circumstances. I like to remember that I haven't always lived this way. Really my first home after college was a mud hut with a thatched roof, no electricity, no running water, in a very small village, and it was extraordinary. It was a beautiful experience.
My goal is to turn success into significance. And I hope I can use some of the successes I had as women's athletic director to continue to be significant. I've looked at my career as a journey. I've enjoyed it from not being able to participate to being able to be involved at the highest level. My goal is that the journey has developed a roadmap for others to follow. And I think we're going to see so much more success in the future of young women being able to take over leadership roles, not only in athletics, but at the boardroom also, because what they have learned. The Women's Sports Foundation says that 90% of the women at the top echelon of Fortune 500 companies participated in athletics at some level. And if you think of that in today's world, what it's going to be like in the future. Move over, guys, we're coming.
I've never really liked politics and don't consider myself a political person. It's the service end of it that appeals to me. I worked for some strong political leaders, and I saw within each of them this service mindset. Jim Cooper, who is a phenomenal servant, Bill Purcell. I got to work for the both of them, and while they may be great politicians in some other folks' eyes, they're also great public servants. And so I just believe my service to organizations, to this city, is a responsibility that I have. I mean, I get so much from this city that I love. I love Nashville. And the ability to serve the citizens in my role now has just been phenomenal. I never, ever in my wildest dreams saw myself doing this, but the opportunity to do it is just mind-blowing.
Being in the fundraising world, there's a form of it that's selling, of course, but really it's about being passionate in connecting people in a way that advances a cause. And I think as I've had the incredible blessing and opportunity of leading the Hyde Foundations and working with Pitt on that, it's just it's sort of sitting on the other side of the desk, which is really fun and exciting to be the one doling out the money, not the one begging for it. I promise you that's really an extraordinary blessing. Our commitment to women and families really is an outgrowth of the sort of overriding philosophy of the foundation, which Pitt has really embedded, and that is about empowering the individual. And that's kind of a grounding for us. And then when you look around, and especially me as a female leader, well, what individuals can we empower where we're really going to make a difference in transforming a whole community? It's a really smart investment to empower women and to look at investing in how to provide all the resources that women and their families need, because that's really the platform on which cities are built and on which generations thrive.
Despite their tremendous achievements, our three honorees would not be the women they are today without learning how to survive some less than ideal situations. Perhaps these are memories they would like to forget, but of course, we will never let them.
You know, when I think of my most embarrassing moment, it has to be in the 3rd grade when my mother made me take voice lessons and put me in a white ruffled dress from head to toe. Now, the voice teacher couldn't think of anything I could sing because I can't carry a tune. So I'm on stage in Opelousas, Louisiana, in a white ruffled dress from head to toe, singing Home on the Range. Most embarrassing moment. Still remember it. Seems like yesterday.
I'm known by some people, for being fairly religious or whatever, but I'm truly a fun-loving, down-to-earth person. There are things that I love to do. Let me just tell you, I am a card-playing phenom. Let me just tell you, if you've never heard of the game Bid Whist, let me just tell you, it's nothing like getting down to the end of the game and having somebody thinking they've got their bid and being able to and slap their card up on your forehead. Honey, for me, that's the end all be all. I'm competitive, and I don't think I come across as being competitive, but when it comes to cards and card games, our family, we get together and we play cards and we have fun, and I don't slap the card on my head all the time, but every now and then I'll get to slap that card on the top of my head.
Your face.
In your face. Look, and have a good stiff drink there on the side, too.
Would you like to play cards?
Home on the range.
There was a moment in 4th grade in Atlanta when I thought I was kind of the head of my social circle and had this great little group of friends, and being that classic oldest child personality, I just organized and orchestrated everything, I thought, to everyone's benefit and deep satisfaction. And I had one of those initial life lessons that we all get along the way. I had a moment when my teacher, Mr. Bogazan was his name, took me aside and kind of had a heart-to-heart with me that my friends had come to him and complained about how bossy I was. And so I guess I learned to take a little feedback early in life and just dial it down a little bit.
I don't feel worthy of the recognition that I get. I am humbled. And I know some people who say they're humbled sometimes aren't humbled, but I really am humbled and honored to receive this recognition from the Women's Political Collaborative. It means so much to me, and again, being able to serve has been the highlight of my life.
Obviously, I'm so honored to be recognized by the Women's Political Collaborative for everything that means about the value of women's leadership, the impact we can all have in Tennessee. And I have to say it's especially fun because I'm following in the footsteps of my sweet husband, who was recognized as a good guy and who is truly one of the good guys on the planet.
When I think about this honor, I have to look back at who else has been honored, and what a great, humbling experience for me to be included among those women and among their successes. Even today, this group is so outstanding, and to be honored for something you really care about is very special to me. The perfect day for me would be being here at a luncheon that's recognizing other women, and I'm so excited to be here. A perfect day to me would be able to participate in the Final Four, as we are going to be in Nashville. A perfect day for me would be surrounded with friends and family, which I am here in Nashville. So this is a pretty perfect day.